We are Heit Cheri, and we haven't left our home for any reason nor come in face-to-face contact with anyone since March of 2020. That's more than 19 months living in our own world. This is our life. We've decided to self-quarantine due to the pandemic, so come along and see how we manage to still have a life while not leaving home. Okay, y'all, so the garage probably looks a little smidge better than before. He moved, all the stuff that we had kind of obstructing the way. We still have a huge project here in the garage. Hopefully we'll be able to get to that soon. Anyway, I'm cooking some dinner, and this is the freezer that I use actually for our overflow. And I've been trying to use things down. I mostly have just chicken and overflow stuff that I don't fit in the refrigerator that's in the kitchen. You know, you can see in here I have some bread, English muffins. This is sort of an experiment. We were gonna plant this because it started growing and we were just like, yeah, we'll plant it at some point. We haven't planted it yet. But now that it's getting a little cooler, maybe we'll plant it. Anyway, I came out here for an onion. I like to buy in bulk, so, I have the onions. They're nice and big, so I'm gonna cut up an onion. I'm making some chicken. I just came out here to get a onion to cut up. So as I mentioned, I'm cooking some chicken breast. I actually had a big pack that I got from Sam's, so I'm just cooking it all at once. Some of this can just be eaten, with vegetables and rice and stuff as dinner. Others, maybe I'll make a sandwich out of it. We may chop it up and put it up in a salad. But it's nice to have it already cooked. And so that's what my onion was for. And so I'm going to cut that up now.
I need this to fit in here. And I don't know if it does. They're different thread sizes. On Amazon, I looked at the reviews and I looked at the questions, and one of the questions said that it wouldn't work on this particular one, but other people said that it worked on theirs, but it didn't have the specific model or whatever, but it was only about $10.
So I already put some seasonings on, and like I've mentioned before, one of the things that is important is that we kind of reduce our salt intake. I use a variety of different seasonings, and in order to do that, we had been using Tony Chachere's or something like that beforehand, or basically any of your seasoning salts, like if you use Lawry's or some other Cajun type of seasoning salt. And so since we wanted to reduce it, then I started to use a combination of those seasoning salts in order to kind of slowly wean this off. They claim it only takes a few weeks in order to kind of re-season your palate so that you don't feel like you require so much salt. So anyway, so I'm just using the onion and I'm just kind of cutting them large because they can go with whatever else that we do with the chicken. I'm just going to place it and let it cook on top. Nothing special, but just to kind of have some additional flavor on the chicken breasts when they cook. That's good enough for that. So let me show you some of the seasonings that I use. Okay, so I put a tad bit of the Tony Chachere's. You're probably used to seeing it in a smaller container that looks like this. But as long as I have this, they have some different flavors or different blends of the Tony Chachere's that are no salt. So if you're looking to reduce your salt intake and still have flavor, that's a good option. But honestly, nothing tastes like salt. So what I find is that I'll put some of this on here, but I also still want to have some salt. So I just use a bunch of different stuff. So that's also an option that I've already added to the chicken. And one of the other things, Lawry's salt-free all-purpose recipe blend And, you know, I got this sort of large container. It's got about 13 ounces in it, and it works really well. It doesn't change the flavor too much, but it gives it some seasoning. So if you're making something that's more Cajun flavor, then it's not gonna completely ruin the flavor. But I never really use this all by itself, but as you can see, like the parts that are green on here, I've already added a little bit of the darker colored seasoning that's on the chicken. Of course, you can never go wrong with some black pepper. So I just kind of liberally put the black pepper. Then you always gotta have some garlic powder. Be careful with the garlic powder, especially because I'm putting onions in here. You don't want to put too much, so I just sprinkle a bit of that as well. And then finally for today, I'm not going to put this on everything, but I do have another salt-free blend, which is the Mrs. Dash. And this is the Southwest Chipotle. I don't think I want it on all of the meat. I'm going to put it on a couple of these to give it just a different flavor, so we won't feel, you know, completely like it's just foreign. So I put kind of a lot on there, but my thought is that for the chicken that's in the Pyrex, I'm going to cover that and really let it kind of cook down. And this I'm going to just cook open on the pan in the oven, both at 350 degrees. I'm just going to layer some onions, and then, you know, if the onions fall off, no problem, because they're good once they're cooked. You just scoop them up, put them on whatever you're eating it on. They'll be good in a salad. They'll be good if you're eating with vegetables, but it's just nice. And then also I find that because the onions have a little moisture, it keeps the chicken from drying out too much. I could cover it, but I'd prefer for this chicken to be a little bit more firm. And then for the other chicken that I am gonna cover, I'm really just gonna kind of dump the onions in there, because we like onions. All right, so the oven is already heated, and I'm gonna cover this. Like I said, there was already a little bit of water in the bottom because I do wash my chicken. I'm not telling you what to do. I understand the arguments for and against, but I wash my chicken and I use aseptic techniques so that we don't cross-contaminate things. But that's another lesson for another day. Anyway, so I'm gonna cover this, and then we're gonna get it in the oven. Like the chicken is done. I'll let the other chicken bake a little bit longer, and there's really nothing to it. We'll chop that up and use that on salads and other stuff.